Hello everyone, Zach here. This beautiful hillside walk. Mount Etna already. Yeah. Amazing place. Just walking up along the side of these lovely hills, and I've decided to make a nice relaxing video talking about anger and frustration. The great divide that is going on right now. So it's amazing how there is literally a massive split between almost two versions of realities, collective realities, where one group of people is fully immersed in, how shall I say, one train of thought, and the others have come into this other train of thought, and both parties believe the other party is brainwashed. And this is what I find so frustrating, is this idea that, of course, I'm on one of those parties, and of course there's also bleed through in between the two points of view. There's lots of grey in the middle of where some people will question one aspect of one, and so on and so forth like that. And so I'm finding it very frustrating, this idea that there's people that have completely given their power away to the mainstream narrative that's being fed to the world. And of course that comes after a lifetime of essentially being indoctrinated into the system, like almost everybody is. Almost everyone. Ooh, it rained here. Almost everyone. To the point where a lot of people in the other camp along their journey, and I'm one of these people, just like many people watching this video are one of these people, where at some point you start questioning the status quo. You start questioning the information that's fed to you via the mainstream narrative, whether that's mainstream news outlets, mainstream educational outlets, mainstream religious outlets, whatever it is. And you start seeing things from a different perspective. Whereas these other people, this other group of people who, look at that, oh my God. I can see, yeah. Gorgeous. Okay. These two different trains of thought. And I just find it so draining, angering, frustrating. And it is. It's perfectly okay to feel these things as a human being. And when, for example, someone who I personally believe is brainwashed by the establishment, and of course they believe that I'm brainwashed by YouTube videos or just different alternative outlets of information, and I get frustrated in thinking or feeling what they express to me about what they perceive of my reality. And what I find really frustrating as well is, and this is the part where a person really benefits from coming into their empathy, coming into the heart space, coming into their compassion, and being able to realize that, hey, this is where, right, I can get angry, I can get frustrated, when I'm trying to prove a point, when I'm trying to I'm not even trying to prove a point. It comes to that point where it's like I could sit here and try and explain and show you all of these dots that you can then start connecting together for yourself in order to realize the kind of picture that I have of what's really going on and the agenda that's behind the agenda, which is also behind the other agenda. Or I can just give you one dot and then tell you, hey, just go and do your own research, because that's ultimately what I would tell anybody anyway. Or I can just not give any dots and just say, hey, like, if you're gonna get this, I can give you like one snippet of a different version of reality, if that, and just say, hey, if you really want to learn about this different version of reality that might possibly exist, first of all, if you're open-minded enough to that, to the possibility of it, and if you're really curious, if you actually have a part of you that is actually genuinely interested in finding out a possible version of truth that may exist in this, then go and do your own research on it. That's all I can suggest. That's all I can do. That's all anybody can do, because on a soul level, everyone who's not quote unquote awakened, either mentally or in their heart, is on their own path, and their higher self may not necessarily want them to awaken in this lifetime, or maybe just this year of 2020 is not the year that they're supposed to awaken. Maybe it's 2024, maybe it's a decade from now. Everyone's going to be on their own path, and so it doesn't matter what a truth seeker, an alternative view holder can say to these people that hold a different version of reality in their minds and in their beings. There's no breaking through in many cases. Sometimes you can plant a seed and that seed will germinate, but it needs to do it on its own. You can't force a plant to grow. You can just give it a little bit of nutrient and water, and then let nature take the rest of the reins after that. And so that's what I found is, in recent times, there's such a divide between people, whether it's vaccinations, anti-vaccinations, whether it's COVID has an agenda behind it, whether COVID doesn't have an agenda behind it, whether Bill Gates wants to depopulate the world, or whether Bill Gates doesn't want to depopulate the world, whether the globalists want to do that, or whether the globalists don't want to do that, whether globalists actually exist in the way that they do and have the level of control that they do, or whether they don't. Or whether or whether the mainstream news is collectively organized to portray a certain kind of narrative that a globalist system wants to be portrayed to the people so that they stay dumbed down, or the opposite of that, and that the mainstream news is just completely independent and does its own thing and is run by independent journalists that have freedom of speech. There's so many different polarities at play here at this time. It's incredible, truly incredible. And this is what this divide in reality is happening. It's the splitting of worlds, and there will be two distinct, clear paths, two distinct, clear camps of people in the years to come, as we see this change happening more and more and becoming more rooted. And so where I'm going with this message right now today is just to really iterate on this idea that when frustrated, when angry, that you can't connect the dots for somebody else, or when someone is ripping into you because they think you haven't got the whole picture, or that you're deluded thinking along the lines of a massive conspiracy theory. And you just are so frustrated that you could just give one little dot of information to them, but they're not even open-minded enough to even consider it. to even consider that there may be a different version of reality, and how angry that can make you feel. And then seeing other people that have a similar belief system to yourself, that have learned similar to what you've learned about the way things possibly are, or the way things are in my truth. And you see these people that share the same belief systems as you getting rinsed, getting torn down, getting bullied, getting these really narrow-minded, in my view, narrow-minded, uneducated, closed-minded viewpoints, indoctrinated, powerless, brainwashed perspectives thrown at rhetorically at people like myself who believe this certain narrative that's different to the mainstream narrative. And just watching your brothers and sisters, I mean, everyone is your brother and sister, just watching them get ribbed like this, get rinsed, get torn down, get shamed, get attacked, both mentally, verbally, physically even in some cases. And it creates a lot of anger, for me anyway, and I just find it difficult. And this is the thing now, where we have to realize that yes, it's okay to feel anger, it's okay to feel frustration, that's human, and it's healthy to feel that. But now what we need to do is, in order to overcome all of this, in order to, because this is the thing, the control agenda essentially wants everyone to be divided and angry with each other and feeling anger within themselves. And that only fuels the beast. It's like adding fire to the fire. And that's what this dark system wants, is more fire thrown at its fire, because it'll only grow. So what I am doing, and what I suggest to people to do in these situations where we're feeling angry, we're feeling frustrated, that there's such a division going on right now, and there's like this kind of just a massive division in perspective, and it's causing so much division within people. While this division in some level is actually very necessary at this time in the greater picture of things, what we also then need to do is just come back into our heart center, come back into our empathy, come back into our compassion, and just realize these two camps of people, these distinct viewpoints of collectives, and all the grey in between. We've got to remember that we're all just one big collective family. We're all souls. And if we can see the soul within ourselves, we can also see the soul within everybody else, no matter what they believe to be true. And we have to respect each other's journey, no matter where we are or what we believe. Because that is what family truly is about. It's being able to be one, come together as one, and love each other. Love each other. To all of them. When you look at this town here in Guriglossa, where I've been staying for the past 2 months, I could bet 90% of the people in there are, well, it's a judgment call, but it's probably true. It probably is true. 90% of the people in this town are probably fast asleep spiritually. And that kind of figure, 80, 90, 95%, is probably the same statistic across the entire planet. And that will vary in some cases depending on where you go, but and even then, how do you define being awake? This is a whole other story, but I'm just saying, I love every single one of those people in that town because they are a part of me. On some level, we are all connected, we are all one, and we must love each other, truly. Because when we leave this body, when I leave this body, when you leave your body, I'm talking to all of you, when we transition, all of this is happening right now. it won't really matter because we're not in this body anymore. The drama it'll always exist in the Akashic record, but this drama will no longer exist. So don't take it so seriously. That's all I can say. And yeah, get angry, get frustrated, but remember, come back into your heart center. This is my message for today, because recently I've been getting very frustrated with watching everything that's been going on. As I said, not just the whole thing about COVID, but also this US election. And I take that so much within myself. Like, yeah, I found myself getting wound up in it because I just, I find it exciting. This is the thing. It's like, to me, I just find it exciting because I know I have my own viewpoint of what's going on. And I'm just loving watching it play out. It's great. So, yeah. But at the same time, just remember your humility. This is something that humanity struggles with possibly the most. Two things. Patience and humility are the two things collectively. For us to continue spiritually growing, those are two things that we could really do with working on the most, in my perspective. So, from me, Lingui Glossa, and beautiful Mount Etna that's currently behind a cloud. I say ciao, arrivederci, buonasera, goodbye, I love you, and see you later. Bye.